Hey yo, what's good, gangsters? Today, a little bit of special thing. I got 5 tips for you, yes you, while you're producing. All right, 5 pretty basic tips, but we're gonna go a little beyond like basic stuff. So yeah, here we go. Number 1. This is one I just found out. This is why I wanted to make this quick little game review here. Add a little lick. All right, because I got this melody. I don't want to show you all the total bop here, so I'll mute the bass. But listen, so I got these chords, right here. I'm gonna play them. By the way, this is in the song "Spam" from my new album, so y'all better get excited to that. But I hear those chords, like those are good chords, right? But they're gonna sound boring after like a whole 2-3 minute song, whatever. So then, but I add this little lick here, right? I just came up with on guitar, and it goes a little like this. I'm gonna play that a little louder here. See, that adds so much more to the beat, and then if you listen to the whole thing, it's groovy and it's catchy and it's everything. So that's my number 1 tip for producing. Second one, I don't want people who are trying to produce to underestimate the power of mastering. Not necessarily the arranging, because I think everyone knows that if you arrange something a little off, it's going to sound terrible, but just mastering. You know, if I had a beat where my drums were like so loud you couldn't hear my vocals or the melody, then it would sound terrible and no one would want to listen to your song. So there we go, that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, I really haven't thought these through. Tip number 3 is think about your chords, alright? This is actually going to tie in with another tip, number 3.5. Make your bass good. Let me explain or elaborate, whatever. So if I come up with a chord progression like F, G, C, then that's very basic, right? But you want to make your chords good. So let's just say like this is fine. This is an example of good in this case if you want like a really basic song. But if I did like, that doesn't sound that good. It could sound good in some kind of like crazy musical thing. But if it's an E sharp, but if it's in C major, then that's gonna sound like bad. So let's say I did like it sounds terrible, you know? So you gotta make your chords good. And then number 3.5 that I was talking about, you gotta make your bass good too. So if you have a chord progression that goes like this, same thing, then, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. So then you gotta add a bass that sounds good, right? You don't want as the bass. Like that sounds good. That's what the notes are. It's just it's one semitone higher. So if you did that and the bass was, this is the chord, this is the bass, it doesn't sound good. So you want to do like, so cool. Fourth one, I'm gonna kind of branch off that 3.5 here and say, be creative with your bass, particularly with your bass, because also with your like melody too. You know, you don't want like, you don't want to make an album and put it out and all the chords are just like, while that might sound fine in the moment, it's not going to be good. People are going to get tired of it, your listeners. So you want to be creative with your chords. You know, you want to change stuff up, not just in different songs. Not not in like a whole track list, but in different songs as well. And then along with that, you want to change your bass, right? So let's just say I made, again, we'll use that same thing. I'm gonna change my bass, right? You don't just want, even though that sounds fine, it goes along with the chord. And I know this is a contradiction to what I was saying last tip, but this is a good one. You want like maybe some kind of like little lick here. See how much better that sounds? Like, instead of just... I don't know why I had the B note there, but yeah. So you want to make it fun and cool and quirky. And the final one is don't screw up your vocals. This is something that I do a lot, and I don't mean in recording, but that too, I guess. You don't want to make them bad. That's pretty easy, but it's kind of tough to get your vocals right, because, for example, when I rap, if I'm not like too into it, if I'm not doing like a certain technique or whatever, or I didn't like warm up enough or whatever, then my voice is gonna sound very, very bad. It's gonna sound like, I can't express because I fixed it in all my songs, they're turning the mid frequency down, but it's just that mid frequency is like painfully high, and it hurts my head every time I hear it. So I gotta fix it. And yeah, so make sure your vocals are recorded okay, or recorded bad but okay enough that you can fix them in post. And make sure you have enough stuff in post to fix them. It's super easy. You can do it with like Garage stock plugins. You don't need to go out and buy like a $50 plugin just to fix your vocals a little bit. I mean, you could, and it's gonna sound infinitely better, but whatever. You can still do it for free. So yeah, that's GarageBand 13.5-year-old producers tips. Bye.